Hello, I'm Simon Lawton. I'm the curator of the John Moore Museum, and one of the workshops we offer for schools and indeed for adult groups is looking at timber frame buildings and talking about how they were constructed. And behind me we've got a very low-tech way of explaining the buildings. We've got this wonderful jigsaw. So, whistle-stop tour of timber frame buildings. We have timber. The main timber for building these houses was oak. Oak's very plentiful in medieval and Tudor times, very strong, perfect for building your houses out of. We have buildings which are jetted out over the street. These buildings lean out, giving sheltering the front of the buildings, very important as the front of the buildings for shops, and also enabling people to walk along the front of the buildings and look at all the goods that the merchants were selling. We have timber holding the building up, but inside the walls you don't have brick. Brick was really expensive in medieval and Tudor times. If you were wealthy, you had a house built of brick. But these had simple wattle and daub panels, and wattle is wood woven together, uprights, verticals of oak, horizontal pieces of willow woven across the oak, and then covered in mud, manure, clay and straw. So wattle is the wood, daub is what's covering it. Buildings held together very simply with a series of wooden joints, because timber frame buildings, as you can see in this jigsaw, are really just a simple series of wooden boxes all held together. You have simple joints like a mortise and tenon joint, a simple piece of hole bored in a piece of wood, then a wooden peg banged into it. You wouldn't use nails because nails, particularly on the outside of buildings, would rust. So a wooden peg is perfect because wood expands and contracts with the element, so the wooden joint expands and contracts, and the wooden peg that's holding it together expands and contracts, making the buildings very strong and very flexible. You have this big vertical roof here, called an A-frame roof because it's shaped like a capital letter A. Something you might have noticed in the jigsaw is you've got a little fire here, but you don't have a chimney, do you? In medieval times, you could have wooden chimneys. Lots of people did. Terrible ideas. Lots of houses burnt down. You could have a brick chimney, but as I said, brick is really expensive. So it was a lot cheaper and a lot safer to have a smoke void. So the smoke rises from the fire, circulates around the central bit, finds its way out under the eaves. But one of the clever things with the smoke void is the smoke, as it rises, the heat as it rises actually helps to heat your bedroom. What about the windows? Well, glass was terribly expensive, so you probably just had cloth covering your windows. Something called oilcloth. It's not oil you put in your car. It's linseed covering linen. Very effective for letting the light in, keeping the drafts out. How would you stop people breaking in? Well, you put wooden shutters. And these buildings had very interesting wooden shutters on the ground floor because the front room was your shop, and they had shutters that pivoted out into the street to form a counter, then could be closed up at night to give your house some protection. Simple earth floors, very steep stairs, more like a ladder than our kind of stairs, simple back door at the back of the building, and steps up to keep all the dirt and water from the street out of your building, also to help raise yourself over the wooden sill of the timber frame building. So this is a jigsaw showing the merchant's house. So if you come to the museum, you can visit the real thing. So this building exists today and has been recreated as a Tudor merchant shop and house, so you can explore the actual thing and see for yourself just how these buildings were constructed.